So for all my young fellas out there that want to make a bag, that want to make some income online, be able to travel the world, we're currently in Medellin, Colombia. The sun is shining, it's beautiful out here, and that's not the most beautiful thing out here, if you know what I'm saying. But besides that, fellas, I have been in business for 7-ish years now. I made a couple million. Could have made a lot more if I didn't make some dumbass mistakes, and that's what I make this channel for, because I want to have you avoid those, and I want to set you on the right path to succeed off the fucking bat. Because I can tell you that I am on that path right motherfucking now. And I want to tell you what it is in this video, which is going to be the best path for you. And if you want to hear proof of what I'm saying, I'll pop some people in the screen right now that are my students and, that we work with that, literally are doing those things. And these guys are like 22 years old and didn't have any, crazy experience or whatever, didn't have any business background or whatever. And if you want to see even more of those examples and you want to see the step-by-step slides of how to do this shit, then go to the link in the description. But besides that, what I want you to understand is if you want to make money, right? You don't want to be the guy who's going to be in a 9 to 5. You don't want to be the guy who's going to be, having to work for someone else or, having to not have freedom, not choose who you can hang out with and who you can't hang out with, not choose what you can say and what you can't say, not choose what the fuck you can post and what you can't post. You want to live your own life. You want to be the CEO of your own goddamn life and live how you want it with the people that you want to, where the fuck you want to, okay? Then you need to find something that's going to give you that freedom. And once you start thinking about that, a whole load of options open up to you, right? A whole load of different business models. And what I can tell you from literally having coached thousands of people and being featured on documentaries, stuff like that, for my story and all of that kind of stuff in my native country, the Netherlands. If you're wondering why I'm not that well known yet internationally, it's because of that. So God bless if you're an American. But anyway, you're going to want to choose a business model, right, that has certain advantages as a beginner. Number one, something that doesn't really require a large amount of startup capital or ongoing capital to invest to make money. So things like Forex trading, things like Amazon FBA, dropshipping, all of those things, you can kind of like, strike through because all of those things take thousands and thousands of dollars on a continuous basis to make money from it, okay? And so that's gonna put you in a position where you're risking a lot because you don't have a track record of success yet. And by the way, I'm not trying to convince you of shit here, okay? I made my money, I'm doing fine. So I'm just trying to give you an objective view, and you should think of everything I say objectively. You shouldn't take, and I'm not saying you will, but you shouldn't take what I say here just as truth and just do your own research, think about it for yourself, logically, get out a pen and a goddamn paper and write it out and think about it. But that's my first thing, right? You don't want to have a business model where you have a lot of risk as a first-time entrepreneur in that sense, where you're going to risk your money because what's going to happen is if you don't succeed within the first 30, 60, 90 days, whatever, right? Then you're going to be on your fucking ass. Your parents aren't going to be happy, okay? And you're going to be out of money. So you're going to have to go back to a job. You're going to have to go back to the drawing board. So let's go to the drawing board up front, not in the aftermath. The second thing you want is ideally, and these are kind of going to conflict these two most of the time, you want to have a position where you're not trading your time for money, right? Because if you're trading your time for money, then you're obviously not, you essentially are a glorified freelancer of sorts, right? You're not going to be able to really skill and you're not really going to live your life the way you want to. Now, is it okay to start in a position like that? For sure, right? But I'm not saying, I'm saying it's not optimal. So what do you want? And the last thing, guys, the third thing is ideally, you're not in a position or in a business model. And this is one of the things that I did, right? My first business was a marketing agency, okay? I still got that ultimately 20K a month-ish. And then after that, I grew further to up to 100K a month with my consultancy business alongside it, right? But that being said, and by the way, my niche, basically I ran ads, right? Just to clarify, I ran ads for like gyms, like high-end gyms, right? High-end personal trainers, realtors, that kind of stuff. So local businesses. And, I did that literally when I was 18. I dropped out of high school. I was like, I found out about this shit. I was like, fuck this, drop out, sleep on friends' couches for a couple months, and got it up to like 4K a month because I burned the motherfucking boats. Okay, if you burn the boats, you're gonna unleash such a new level of genius out of yourself, right? Because you don't have another option. You have to make it work. Okay, so with that being said, that business required me to learn advertising, learn sales, learn operations, learn how to hire team members, whole multitude of different skills. So it was pretty fucking difficult. Okay, now I still did that. And I also taught many people how to do it. And I literally have people making 100K a month 80K a month, 40K a month, etc. with that dear old student of mine from the Netherlands that I still keep in touch with. Okay, I actually met one in Bali, and he's doing literally more than 100K a month, like hundreds of thousands a month with a marketing agency. He expanded out of the Netherlands into Spain, Germany, etc. His name is Roy. Super good guy. So anyway, besides that, guys, it's not the easiest place to start, right? So those three things are essentially what you would want to avoid. Now, there's one model, right? There's one kind of intrapreneur, quote unquote, model that has all of the benefits of these businesses that I just started mentioning, but not the downsides. Okay, and that is a model called digital sales. Now, before you think that you've heard of this before, I guarantee you haven't. Because one thing that I will say off the bat, this is a boring industry. Okay, this is a boring, hustle. It's not like, oh yeah, you're gonna build a clothing brand, or you're gonna make bikinis for girls, or you're gonna be on shoots and yachts with all these girls. Okay, that you're gonna do your shoots for your shoot. Everybody always wants to do clothing brands. I don't know why, especially girls. Anyway, and they never make any money. They never do. So, anyways, guys, this is a boring industry that you haven't heard of before, because a lot of people here online talk about, okay, doing high ticket sales for coaches, doing appointment setting, all that kind of shit. And that's not wrong, okay? I personally had people in my team making like 10, 20K a month, etc. In those positions, even sometimes some outlier months, some more. But in that position, right, you're essentially very dependent on the company that you work in and work for, and for your growth, right? So in that normal digital sales position, normal sales positions, right? Obviously you're making commissions, but you have to have a set schedule for these goals. You have to actually usually really work your way up, right? Starting as an appointment setter, which is essentially a glorified assistant, right? Who calls people up, sets appointments and stuff like that, which is very low pay and very long hours. And then you have to work your way up. And even, once you finally get to that point where you're in a great company, the growth potential isn't there. Like all the guys, and I know a lot of guys in that space that are doing big numbers in that, and my partners as well in my current business. And what we see with all those guys is that at some point they have to leave that position anyway, right? Because they're not going to crack way more than that 20, 30K a month or whatever. They're not going to get into a position where they're going to create semi-passive income, and they're always chasing the next deal. Okay, they're always looking for the next sale, because every month they start at zero again. And that is very demotivating, because no matter how hard you work, you're never truly building something up. Okay, now additionally, you're not building equity. You can't exit that as a business. You can't exit all the contracts that you've closed and sell it or whatever, because there's no residuals on it. Okay, so essentially it's just a very short-term minded position in that sense. Now, I'm not saying it's bad at all, but I'm saying there's something better. Okay, because this new boring industry that I teach people and that I'm in myself, and that is the absolute best opportunity. Okay, and once again, proof is all in the video and the link in the description. Well, actually, you can find out that industry extensively covered in the link in the description. But in this industry, because in this industry, you not only get a high ticket commission, which is about $1,000, okay, for every contract that you close, and this is in financial services, okay. You don't have to do hour-long sales calls where you reframe and you only speak to people that have raised their hand and said like, okay, I am interested, I want to do this. And essentially, every contract you close, because what we're selling within financial services specifically is called life insurance, okay? And within life insurance, every contract you close, you get an upfront commission for that year, but it's called life insurance for a reason. These contracts were made for a long time. So you're going to get residuals, okay, paid to you year after year, okay, of every contract you close. So that's the first part. You're going to get high cash flow instantly. Okay, our guys are getting up to 10K a month within 90 days and then scaling to 20, 30, 40, 50K a month. Okay, like I'm serious, guys. If I would hear myself speak like this or someone else speak about it like this, I'd be like, there must be some catches here. This is full of shit. Like, this sounds like too crazy of a business model to make those big numbers with that little risk or no risk at all. Check the video in the link in the description if you want to actually find out if it's completely objectively true. But with that being said, with all the proof and whatnot, with that being said, here I'm giving you a high-level overview. So finish this video first, but that'll really, if you have doubt, solidify it for you. So with that being said, the second thing you're going to be able to do, okay, so that's the first thing. You're going to get residuals on every contract you close, and you're going to get a high upfront commission so that you can actually make money quick. The second thing you can do is Once you start getting to 5, 10, 15K a month, you're going to have people ask you, hey, dude, what the fuck's going on? You're flying business class, you're living in different places. What the hell are you doing? What are you up to? You tell them, and these people are going to want to go into your team, and you can start building your own team. Okay. So within the agency that you work with, okay, and if you want to look into what it would look like to work with me personally on a one-on-one basis, I'll coach you one-on-one together with my partner, Nick, okay, to be able to get to that 10K a month. And that's a guaranteed result. We guarantee you get to 10K a month within 90 days, or we work with you one-on-one at the exact same level of service until you do. Check out the link in the description for that. But with that being said, you can start building a team under you, okay, that's going to produce. And you're going to get a small percentage, a manager's fee for the people that you are managing. Now, for example, if you're on our agency, these people are already going to be fully trained by us, okay, for you, because we're going to be able to license to you our program, etc., that teaches them fully. All you're going to do is guide them one-on-one, right? And so, like, check in with them, hop on a few calls with them, review their calls a little bit. That's where the manager's fee comes from. And that's where you get this semi-passive income, because now you're in a position of leverage. So this is what I'm saying. You're going to get to that point of 20K a month or 30K a month, whatever. And there's even people who are doing 50, 60K a month off their own personal sales only, okay? Not even their team. So you can get very far with just yourself as well. But if you want to get that more semi-passive and leverage position, then what you're going to do is you're going to have those people under you, and you're going to manage them. And that's where it becomes semi-passive, because that's the difference between this and any other closing position. You are guaranteed to be able to go in there. Why? Because if you do it right, if you're in the right setup, which I'll show you in the video below, but then there's unlimited leads. There's no cap on it, okay? So you can literally just grow this team if you want to. You're not dependent on the company's marketing. You're not dependent on the leads. You have the control. So that's why I call it an intrapreneur. You have a little business within a business, okay? And so then from there on, you're going to be able to grow to serious numbers, okay? I'm talking real money. The third thing is, if you're in this for the long game, and if you want to get a little literal retirement fund, then you're gonna start closing all these contracts. These are life contracts, right? And then you're gonna build this, what we call a book of business. And this book of business is gonna allow you to basically stack this up over years, right? And now you have a solid, I want to set the proper expectations. This is a long-term play. But if you're in the space for years, then literally, once you're ready, you can actually exit your book of business. And one of the guys that we're very close to, he's like 24 years old, and he's been in this for 4 or 5 years, and he just got offered 30 mil, okay, for his book of business. So this is very real, very possible. And the way it works is essentially just like a musical artist will have an album, right? Like Justin Bieber sold his album catalog for like 200 mil, right? Why? Because it has continuous value, because there's residuals on it, royalties and whatnot, and he just wants a lump sum form of cash to exit it. At least, a lot of artists do that kind of stuff. And so that's the same concept here. So essentially, it's like having a house that pays you rent each month, and then you can sell it once you're ready to sell it, right? But you're not actually having to buy a house. That's the beauty. So that's the third thing. Now, you can think for yourself, what other motherfucking position, business model, hustle can you get into that is going to give you all of those things? Because I can tell you, the only other thing that I would even on some level compare to this is the information business, where you sell courses, coaching, masterminds, whatever, okay? Because that's very high cash flow, it's very fun to do, you're helping people, all of that stuff. But there's no residuals, you're always chasing the next deal as well, okay? There's no exit potential, there's no team that you're really building under you that is also selling under you and you're getting over it. It's way less of a setup, okay? So with that being said, if you want to actually do that business and you want to get my personal one-on-one help together with Nick, that personal production makes 40, 50K a month profit, bottom line. We'll show you all the numbers, screenshots, whatever you want to see, okay? It's in the video, and we'll show you even more if you want, because we're very transparent about this. But if you want my personal one-on-one help to get you to that guaranteed 90K a month, to get you to that guaranteed 10K a month within the first 9 days. And that's just the first goalpost, guys. That's nothing. That's a fucking hygiene standard. But I'm talking about in the first 90 days, 10K a month as a benchmark. And then we're going to grow you to 20, 30, 50. Okay, especially if you want to build a team. And we'll actually, if you're working with us, if you're through my program, then we'll literally staff people under you, right? Because we have so many people coming in through our marketing and whatnot, that we have too many to deal with. So for the people that come through our program, we literally will staff people under you once you have proven yourself to get to that point of 10K a month. So I can guarantee that you're not going to find a business model or side hustle like this that doesn't have the risk and has all of those upsides. Okay, that's why it's popping. And the reason that you might not have heard of this before is mainly and primarily because this used to not be such a good option for us young hustlers, because essentially you had to really go and sell life insurance and whatnot in person, right? That was just how it was done. But then COVID happened and everything went digital. And we just do phone calls, okay? One call closes, you just call people up off a list of leads and you read the exact script that we give you, and then you close about 10, 20% of these calls to pick up, right? It's that fucking simple. And these calls, they take 20, 30 minutes. It's not a crazy call, usually 20 minutes to be honest, right? It's not a crazy call where you have to convince people that they want it, that they need it. No, these are people that literally are a little bit older. They want to protect their family, they want to protect their kids in case of, that they unfortunately would pass away, and the family wouldn't have money for the funeral or whatever. And that this way, that's insured. So you're also just providing a product that everybody needs, everybody wants, and it will always be like that. No market up and downs, no fluctuation in your monthly productions, no fluctuation in your income, and you can feel good about it too. Okay. So with that being said, if you want more help, you want more details and the step-by-step and everything, it's also an actual training, not just about how we help you, but an actual training so you can actually walk away regardless with some value. Then click the link in the description. And last thing I just want to say is, if you're watching this video right now, you can sense and feel if this is something that resonates with you and you're like, hey, potentially I could and would want to do this. Then there's always two options, right? There's always two things you can do. You can go follow your higher self intentions or your lower self impulses. Your lower self impulses are the ones that hold you back, are the ones that are the actions that are basically retrieval, staying the same, following comfort. Higher self intentions, right? So no impulses, but intentions. That comes from your spirit that wants to grow, wants to be more, wants to create more, wants to have more, wants to be a motherfucking gangster in business, in life, in money, everything, right? So think of yourself. What would be the right choice here? Always ask yourself, what is truly the right choice here? And then follow that intention. Follow the right one, okay? So don't succumb to comfort. Don't succumb to procrastination. Take action, even though it might feel uncomfortable. It might feel in your body, the lower self, it might feel like, right? Like you're on top of a diving board and you don't want to jump off. But you know that shit's safe. You know that all the girls are going to fucking laugh at you if you walk back. But you still want to walk back because it's scary and you want to stay safe. And your subconscious just wants to keep you in the same spot because that's what's familiar. And what is familiar is safe to your subconscious mind, to your body. But your higher self, your higher mind wants what's new, wants what's better, wants improvement. So follow that part and take action if this sounds like something that resonates with you. And I'd be more than happy to talk to you if it ends up being like that. So go crush it, man. And even if it's not this, even if you're doing something else, whatever it is, even if you're a fucking athlete, I'm a boxer myself as well. Okay, I happen to not have a blue eye this week, but most of the videos I sometimes have them. And even if it's something else, go and decide from there. I'll see you in the next one, and go take action.